You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, episode 194.2.6, our Lapel boys basketball season preview with head coach Kevin Cherry.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Welcome, basketball fans, to our boys basketball Lapel postseason preview. Today is March 4th, 2025. It's a Tuesday, and it's also time for sectional basketball. And it's also another day for the Central Indiana Sports Report. I'm your host, Greg Mengelt, and I love Central Indiana sports. Coming to you today from Madison Grant High School. Producer Susie is in the control room at headquarters in Jeffersonville. Coming up in a minute, I will have my conversation with Lapel head coach Kevin Cherry. First, please go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search Central Indiana Sports Report. We are very easy to find. Got lots of cool stuff going on there. Lapel enters the Frankton sectional at 18-5, ranked 10th in Class 2A, with 12 straight wins and perhaps the sectional favorite. However, this is a tough Class 2A sectional. The good news is the Bulldogs drew a first-round bye. The bad news is Friday's sectional semifinal is against host Frankton, a team that's won 11 games in a row. And if they can get by that one, they'd have to go through a 16-win team, Taylor, Tipton, or Sheridan, to win the program's first sectional championship in 7 years. Lapel has won 48 games in 3 years under Lapel head coach Kevin Cherry, including 18 in each of the past 2 seasons. This year, they hope it results in the program's 4th sectional championship in the last decade. Please stay tuned for Lapel head coach Kevin Cherry.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Joining me now is Lapel head coach Kevin Cherry. His team is one of the hottest teams in the state heading into the tournament, and in our sectional previews on Monday morning, Grant Schaus and I picked every single sectional in the state. I picked Lapel, he picked Tipton, and you could make arguments for a 16-win Taylor team with a great trio, a deep and talented Sheridan team, and also a Frankton team that's won 11 games and it's home, and it's kind of been an afterthought. So, your thoughts on going into this sectional, Coach?
Yeah, but you're right. You highlighted a lot of a lot of good teams in our sectional, and also a lot of really good coaches. I don't know if for sure if Cliff has won a state championship, but he's won 600 games. Coach Waddell at Taylor's won a state championship or been to the state finals. Brent Brobson obviously has won one. So it's a team filled with a lot of good teams and a lot of great coaches, and it's going to take somebody's great effort to win that thing, because you will have earned it if you can. You're the team cutting down those nets on Saturday night.
And as you know, great coaching can be the difference in these types of games.
I've been fortunate to have worked with some really great head coaches throughout my career, but going through those experiences as yourself as a head coach, I think ultimately you're learning a little bit on the fly. But I feel like our team is going to be prepared. We're starting to put our game plans in for the different scenarios, and because if you're fortunate enough to win on Friday, you got a quick turnaround for a Saturday prep, and so we're just trying to look at different scenarios and different types of game plans that we may have to implement throughout the course of this tournament run. But everyone has a great plan until the bullets start flying, or until you get punched in the mouth, and you got to figure it out on the fly a little bit too.
You have no chance really to prepare for who's going to be in that championship game, because it could be one of 3 teams, and because you're going to have all your attention on the Frankton Elwood winner.
Yeah, that's just right. I mean, we have to kind of expect the unexpected. There's upsets along the tournament trail. There's just crazy things that happens. So you really got to be prepared for just about any type of scenario. But ultimately, at the end of the day, that's why we've played the schedule we've played, trying to get ourselves ready for the postseason tournament, and here we are. So I like the way our team's playing. I like our
Yeah.
chemistry, and we'll see what happens this week.
You have not lost since January 17th to a very good Hamilton Heights team that could come out of this week as a sectional champion as well. Um, and then I'm not going to ask you if you would like a third shot at Pendleton Heights, but anyway, I'm just going to move on. Um, uh, your team is playing very well heading into the season, and everybody knows about Brody and Bodie, but man, what a team effort it has been for your team.
Yeah, and it just seems like every night we've been able to, somebody steps up. Luke Jones coming off that Newcastle game, he's making shots from everywhere and has 21 points on that night. Devin Craig, you go back to Northeastern game where we were fortunate enough to win that game at home. I think Devin had 20 that night or 24. And you can just go down through the schedule. And I remember Coach Buck told us as players back on our team is, we got into the sectional and he would say, somebody's going to step up tonight. We don't know who that's going to be, but somebody tonight will step up to help us win. And I kind of take that mentality into every game that we play now. It's like, I kind of know what we got in Brody and Bodie and some of our other guys too, but there's always an X factor. Somebody steps up to allow us to win, and it's kind of a neat thing on any given night to have the weapons that we do have, and it goes deep into our bench too. I mean,
Yeah,
Tyler Cash, Owen Garber,
that was my next
Mason
thing.
Kinnemer, Quaid Hall.
That was my next thing. It can't be easy for you to kind of decide who gets what minutes. It's been such good depth for you.
That's something. I mean, the first quarter of our season, we really looked at some different combinations and trying to get a feel for what we had. And I really credit our sophomores and our freshmen to maybe righting the ship a little bit after that rocky start, which I would think rocky start, but we played some really good teams, and we didn't play up to our standard or how I thought we were capable of playing, and so we made some adjustments with the lineup, and some kids came off the bench that had been starting, and it kind of set a fire under some of those kids to say, oh, wait a minute, I have to raise my performance here if I'm going to continue to start or I'm going to get more minutes. And our Liam and Quaid and Owen and Mason Kinnemer, those sophomores and the freshmen, they really supplied that for us. So from that standpoint, those kids really helped our program, and they've continued to get varsity minutes, of course, but I think they really pushed our upperclassmen to be better.
Coach, what do you think if looking back, the first game of the season against Frankton, and we will talk about the Eagles here in a minute, but from that point to March 3rd at 7:30, what's been the biggest improvement for your team? What's made you go from a near 500 team through the first half of the season and perfect, unblemished. No basketball
Yeah,
team is perfect, but
right.
unblemished in the second half of the season. What was the biggest difference?
Well, I think some guys bought into the roles that we were asking them to play, and not that they were being selfish beforehand, but it's like we had to play a certain style to be successful. Brody and Bodie are options 1A and 1B, and then depending on how teams guard them, then that creates opportunities for the other pieces that we put around them. And so I think really focusing on shot selection, time and situation, driving the basketball and not settling maybe for a deep three when the ball hasn't gone inside yet. We talk about playing inside out, constantly, daily. The other thing is too, I think defensively we've gotten better as the year has gone on, and we still have a lot of work to do in that. Not a lot of work, but we got to make sure we're great in our technique and bought into being great in our game plan and following the rules that we've set for whatever particular matchups we have. But I think we've gotten much better throughout the course of the year of guarding and rebounding the basketball. And, we talk about our potential opponent, and it could be Elwood, it could be Frankton, but whatever team we play throughout the tournament, I think rebounding the basketball is going to be critically important for us to be able to win some games here in the tournament and make a run. And if we happen to play Frankton again, I know that's one of the things that in our game one of the year, Frankton out-rebounded us in that first game. So, if we get a potential rematch on that, that'll be a point of emphasis, I know, for both teams, as being able to rebound the basketball and eliminating second-chance opportunities. But
Coach, it's like you keep anticipating my questions tonight. My next question was, from the Frankton game, what was the thing that you most need to fix to beat them again?
Well, yeah, touching on that, rebounding the basketball, they're going to shoot it, at home, their home environment. I anticipate they'll shoot the basketball very well. So we got to guard the three-point line and not let them get comfortable or get going from the three-point arc. Keeping the basketball in front of us, containing dribble penetration is going to be important. And I think playing without fouling. We don't want to be in a situation where we're in foul trouble and put ourselves at a disadvantage with some of the matchups that I think we might be able to take advantage of. The other thing is Frankton is playing a little bit different style than they did in our first matchup, with some of the more traditional actions and things that Coach Brobson does, and they do a very good job of it. So it'll be interesting to see if with some of that Princeton stuff, if that's how they elect to go, or if they want to go more of the ball screen stuff. I know Coach is going to have them extremely well prepared, and it may be all the above and then some that they throw at us. If we're fortunate enough, if they're fortunate enough to win the first round and we get a second game with Frankton. But, I'm anticipating whomever we play, it's going to be a great atmosphere. Hopefully we can play up to our standard and see where the chips fall.
Thank you so much to Coach Cherry for once again joining the Central Indiana Sports Report. He has been one of our biggest supporters from the beginning, and we always appreciate him. And we appreciate you listening. Thank you for spending part of your day listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report. If you'd like to see us continue to grow and thrive, please tell your friends about the Central Indiana Sports Report. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.